All right, welcome back to another episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. I'm sure you've probably heard about the Kurt Herbstreit comments. If not, we've left a little slot right here for you to be able to watch the video on his comments.
Like, what's the difference as a player in saying these games are meaningless when, Des, we played in quote-unquote meaningless games. I mean, I know you guys were here a lot, but I just don't understand. If you don't make it to the playoff, how is it meaningless to play football and compete? Isn't that what we do as football players? We compete. So I don't know if changing and expanding it is going to change anything. I really don't. I think this era of player just doesn't love football.
That's what I was about to say.
All right, so let's get into it. This is going to be controversial. I feel like we have some differing of opinions at the table. We're going to start with a couple things. Let's start with Kurt Herbstreit's comments alone about players that are sitting out not loving football. Anybody want to defend Kurt on that?
I don't agree with the way he put it. It's not that they don't love the game of football, because every athlete ever loves the sport that they play, and they love to compete in it.
Yeah.
Especially if you get to that level.
At that, every collegiate athlete has to love their game that they're competing in. But what Desmond Howard says is we are dealing with a different breed of, or a different mentality.
Yeah.
I think if Kurt would have come out and said it that way,
Yes.
versus not loving the game, I think it wouldn't have been as controversial.
Yes.
Because I agree with him.
I think his words weren't placed
correct.
correctly.
The way that he portrayed himself, the way he portrayed his comments, were not done in great taste. I think if he'd come out and said, like Desmond said, they don't have the same mentality that we had when we were playing, because it was different back then. But the way that he came out and just put it on the table the way that he did, I think that's what's hurting or destroying his image right now. But I mean, I agree to a sense of what he's saying. I don't agree with how he said it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say this. I like College Game Day, and I really like Desmond Howard. I have been rubbed by Kurt Herbstreit pretty wrong the last couple of years. I haven't agreed with a lot of things that he said, the way he's gone about it, and I also just don't believe Kurt Herbstreit's really that good anyways. But
He never was.
He was never good at the college level. Like, if you look up the way he was, the dude had like 7 touchdowns in his entire 4 years at Ohio State. So
I do like how he commentates games, though. Like, he
I don't think he's bad in the commentating of the games, but I mean, I think Kurt Herbstreit portrays that he knows more than what he probably actually knows, or is better, was at least better at football than what he thinks he's up here. I think really he's down here. But anyways.
But yeah, I think there was a lot.
I think Kurt said it the wrong way, 100%. And I think Kurt has to sit back and realize, and if his kids were actually good at football at Clemson, they would probably sit out games, and that would be a tough pill for him to swallow. The game of college football is not like what it was not when he was playing,
Back
or
in
when
the
Desmond was
the
playing.
90s and the late 80s,
It's like
the same.
Desmond Howard in 2021 would sit out of Michigan's bowl game if they weren't in the college football playoffs.
College players are getting paid now.
But not only that, but
the Clemson quarterback, he's already made like $1 million just off like commercials,
Bojangles.
right? Or Bojangles, right?
Yeah.
Just in no
But-
offense to him, he didn't really have that good of a season this year.
but
And
that's not.
he's at risk of losing it. I mean, it's not the
His
NIL,
job is not secure.
the NIL deals. This is what people need to get a realization about. The NIL deals, not all of them are guaranteed.
No.
Like, people ask why Quentin Ewers transferred from Ohio State to Texas. That man's $1 million NIL deal means he has to play X number of snaps before the end of his sophomore year. He had no choice. He had to get to Ohio State. He wasn't going to beat C.J. Stroud out.
Mm-hmm.
He needed to go somewhere where he can play. So these NIL deals aren't just like somebody showing up and handing a bag of money to somebody like it's Tennessee.
It's not Tennessee.
Yeah, it's not Tennessee and McDonald's bags. Like, these NIL deals that are getting cut have stipulations around them.
So, but either way, like you're saying, though, coach, kids don't love the game is not true. I think the kids love the game.
I disagree with that statement 100%.
But if look at Matt Corral, who is a potential first rounder,
Not anymore.
doesn't sit out his bowl game, goes and
Hurts his ankle.
hurts his ankle.
Yeah.
Now you hurt your draft stock. Granted,
Took money out of his pocket.
Dallas took a chance on a kid in Jalen Smith when he tore his ACL his senior year.
Yep.
Luckily, he bounced back and turned out to be decent for a couple seasons, 4 or 5 seasons. But it was all right. Matt Corral, this situation all of a sudden now you went from being a first rounder to now
potentially not being drafted.
See, yeah, and
And
that's,
you've just ruined your chances of setting up not only you and your family, but maybe the generation after you and the generation after that.
and that's my like view on that is like if you are going to be a top round draft pick, you don't want to ruin your draft stock and potentially lose out on we're talking millions of dollars
Right.
to set, like he said, you and your family up. Now, if anybody, once again, these are kids. These
These are 18 to 20,
these are
21-year-olds.
Yeah.
to 21-year-old kids, and whoever feels like that they don't love the game, I feel like that's a very like this is life changing stuff right here. Like when you go to the league, most of these kids like this is life changing for them. This is a game changer.
Yeah.
But as a fan, you hate to see it. Like you want to see your team's best potential people be out there to play your ball
Well, of
game.
course, but then
Yeah.
all the other people that are broadcasting the game are also losing out potential money of viewers that are like, oh, well, if these people aren't going to play in the
I'm
game.
not gonna watch.
Right.
The NCAA made almost $193 million in the 2019 bowl games. That's plenty enough money.
Well, I understand that, but
Could it have been 210? Sure.
yeah, but I'm not gonna fault a kid that he wants to sit out because
That's my biggest thing. Yeah, that's where I feel how you want to feel about Kurt's comments. I think Kurt has to accept the fact that there's two things to this too. The game has changed and so much that we do have these broadcasts and we see these kids all year long, and you basically can just have Hulu Live and I can watch Mississippi State games. You know, it's not like the '70s when you only got local teams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these scouts can go to these games as much as they want. This one game
It's not going to make
is
or break.
not going to destroy anyone's career. Or if you have a bad game or a great game, you're not going to move up 3 spots from 12 to 9 in the NFL draft just because you had a good bowl game. Like
Right.
you're going to go to the team based off the team that needs you and where they draft.
that
you.
was like one of the things about what's his name, Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
They were saying last year like, oh well, because he sat out, does he not love football? And like,
yeah.
well, look at him now.
Now
Does he love
Defensive
football?
Rookie of the year.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, at the end of the day, like if you're upset about these big name kids not playing in these bowl games, that's where the college football playoff expansion needs to come in.
Please,
This
just
is
do it.
yeah.
But
I mean,
then,
this
but
is
then,
interesting.
but you can't say because then, like I think Coach saying, or the pointless bowl game, or what's the point of your big name guys who didn't make the champ? Like, because now you're saying that if you don't make the playoffs, now my top tier talent at whatever team isn't going to play in the bowl game
Yeah, that's fine.
because. And as a fan, you hate to see that. As a fan, you hate to see
We're
it.
South Carolina fans,
Right.
right?
But if
But-
if Alshon Jeffrey said, "Hey, I'm not playing in the bowl,"
If-
as a fan, it sucks.
If we
That
don't,
absolutely
if
sucks.
we'd have lost the Duke Mayo Bowl, would we have gone to JJ Inabari and been like, "You suck for not playing in our bowl"?
No, because we
No. Did you expect a guy that's going to be a top 15 pick and the second highest rated pass rusher from Pro Football Focus in college football to play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
he could have came out and had 10 sacks. Guess what? He made what?
And-
go
and-
2 spots higher, maybe.
And
14?
honestly, for Desmond and Kurt, it's selfish to think that these kids are going to risk millions of dollars to play in a bowl game
But
that
I-
plays on a Tuesday at 11:30.
Because yes, because to
Right?
But I understand their point. Like back in the day, like
Oh,
like,
sure.
Well, but you would like it was a camaraderie thing. Like you and your brothers were going to go to war, and like that, you would do anything to get the win. With
whether it was the
Right.
Gator Bowl trophy
Right.
or the Tax Slayer, I got my W-2s
it did
as my,
not.
as my championship.
So here's the other thing. So, like back in the day, the way the college football national championship was handed out was it was kind of based off of basically like 5 teams, and then
It was the
whoever
numbers.
the AP wanted to give it to.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
like,
unless you're Clemson, you buy it. But
or you buy it. I mean, that's the thing. Like, as the game evolved, all of a sudden we actually have a national championship game, and you know one of these 2 teams is going to win. Well, that's when it started. I mean, when Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette and then sat out the bowl game, really. There was other people that sat out before, but that was kind of the one year where all of a sudden it really started to happen. Is people started sitting out then, and now it's just kind of taking on. And I mean, it's going to happen. Like if these teams are not, if they don't have a chance to win the ultimate prize, is it smarter for some of these kids to sit out and not risk millions?
Right. That's,
Yes.
Exactly. Like if you're not even in the potential chance to win the college football playoff,
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
Then yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So yeah, to have Ingeborg sit out the Duke's Mayo Bowl, because no, he could have come out and had 47 tackles and 10 sacks. Guess what? He might move up one spot.
Yeah, exactly. Might move.
Or he
might
comes
become
out 3 plays later and gets a chop block and blows his ACL, and now he's out
and now
$10
he's,
million.
yeah, now he's in the 3rd round. Like he's going to go lucky to go in the 3rd round. There's more. What Kurt and them probably haven't realized. Well, I don't want to say that, but what people need to realize, if you're ever going to agree with the way Kurt Herbstreit did this, there's more value for these players in being healthy at the NFL Combine than there is playing in the
Absolutely.
When you
Well,
get
not
out
only
there,
the combine,
you
but
get
yeah, the tryouts or the workouts
this,
leading
the
up.
actual Senior Bowl that's going to be basically just a cupcake walkthrough. Nobody's going to try real hard. It's better for them to be 100% healthy for this combine when they show up the right weight, the right height, they run the right 40,
And they show
bench
out.
press exactly. That's where their draft stock can move.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with you.
whew. A
So,
lot of guys set out though. Won't lie.
Yeah, a lot of
A lot of guys set out. So.
But I mean, again, I think what Christian was saying earlier too is I don't disagree 100% with what they're saying. I just think they went about it the completely wrong way of them saying.
That's
but
saying it, yeah.
but I do
Well,
think that there are some.
I think Kirk said it the wrongest way. Desmond tried to backtrack him a little bit.
Right, I'd be like, hang on.
He tried to correct it, but I mean, Kirk already shot his shot. He said what he said. You couldn't take it back.
But I do think like there are certain people who sat out this year that had they played, their games could have turned out a lot different.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
You
Ohio State would have beat Utah by 40 had their 3 receivers and their defensive tackle played.
Carson Strong at
They
the
didn't need a
bottom.
lot of it.
You know,
They had
Nevada would have had a better chance with Carson Strong. Kenny Pickett Pitt would
Yeah.
have blown out Michigan State, right? So yeah, I mean, sure, there's some of that, but
Brees Hall at Iowa State
would have beat Clemson, yeah.
or would have given you a better chance.
Well, the guy scored 25 straight college
Yeah.
football games, I think.
You would well.
Thank you.
It would have put all the pressure on Purdy. As it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Well,
So,
Brock,
I mean-
Brock honestly kind of needed that game for his NFL stuff. You
Well,
know?
that's what happened in the South Carolina game. I mean, if Van had blown up and had a huge game, Van probably would have left.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
Baylor's defensive end is kind of in that. He was in that late 1st round, possibly early 2nd round. Guy had 2.5 sacks against Ole Miss.
Right.
Maybe-
But like that's the
maybe
give and take. That's like
Yeah.
you said. Like if you do well, if you're on the cusp of that 1st or 2nd round,
Yeah, but if you said I'm a 29th to 34th pick, either I'm going.
regardless, if you're making.
But no, like if like you're
Well,
saying,
there's-
I'm going 3 teams in the 1st round, or I could go in the top 3 teams in the 2nd round. Going that 1st round money can also
That's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's kind
how
of the
many
thing.
how much more money is that
You
in the
like
1st round
if
versus
you
the
get
2nd
drafted.
round?
Well, the not just the money thing, the option. So when
Yeah,
you
the
when
player
you
option.
when you
Team
get
option.
drafted in the 1st round,
That's-
you get a 5th-year team option
Yes.
on top of your deal, which is big. Also can kind of hurt you a little bit. I mean, if you're a running back and you get drafted in the 1st round and your team decides to pick up your option on your rookie contract, that's money you're missing out of your pocket.
Yeah.
So
unless you
in,
restructure.
in that shorter lifetime, unless you restructure. So that's another thing Kurt and them have to realize is that there's people making less money on these rookie contracts because of the CBA that we're in now that
Yeah.
happened 3 or 4 years ago.
Thanks, Sam Bradford.
Sam Bradford's trash ass.
140 million guaranteed, and he blew his ACL in 3 games.
Terrible. That was the worst pick the Rams could have ever made. Anyways, but there's these new rookie contracts where these guys are getting 4 years, maybe 60 million.
Yeah, like
instead of 4 years and 140 million. And so for some of these
Well,
guys,
they capped
like,
that because of that.
well, they needed to cap that.
They
but
needed
anyways,
to.
these guys, there's a big shift between in the top 15
this is
and
life-changing money.
16
This
to
is
25. Yeah.
life-changing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
more than Kirk Herbstreit probably makes. So
more than he deserves at least.
But they probably paid him handsomely.
Yeah, more than he deserves.
oh
but-
yeah.
Him and old
I mean,
crackhead Lee Corso.
like the best way to put
I
it,
love him.
I would say if I had a son that was in this position and he was basically a guaranteed top 25 pick, I would tell him I think he should sit out the bowl game.
Yeah, because
If he's anywhere later than that, play it. Let's see what we can happen. Let's
you could move
let's-
up into the top
you
20,
can move up in
or
the top 25.
like you said, one game shouldn't all of a sudden be like, oh man, he only had He had 4 targets, had dropped 3 of them, went 1 for 23 yards.
Yeah.
Drop him 17. So that's not gonna happen.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. Like I would put my 2 cents in, but I'd be like, okay, son, if you want to play and go out there, then absolutely.
Of course, this is life. You know,
Yeah.
at
Yeah, do what you
19,
want.
20 years old, or 20, 21 years old. Yeah, this is life. So, all right. Any other final thoughts on this?
No,
I'm
made it on
All right.
points.
I had a little fun.
That was yeah.
I was steamy about this the other day when this came out.
Oh, man.
So I was excited to get to hear and talk
I
about
was
it.
just like,
You about
Are you
to see
crazy?
the same Bradford.
I hate Sam Bradford. I can't lie to you. I hate Sam Bradford. That is like.
There's another
when I-
segment for us. Worst first picks of all time.
Oh yeah, Jamarcus Russell, Sam
Ryan Leaf.
Bradford, Ryan Leaf. So we'll get on that sometime soon. But all right, thanks for watching.
thank you.